Hello, everyone. This is Chet Bolingbrook, the CRPG addict, and I'm going to take you on a tour of a version of Rogue, the 1980 adventure role-playing game that gave birth to the roguelike subgenre. Rogue was written at the University of California, Santa Cruz by Michael Toy and Glenn Wickman, with later contributions by Ken Arnold after Toy took a job at UC Berkeley. Although the later convention of the roguelike subgenre was and is to freely share source code, the developers of Rogue never released theirs. Not even after an attempt to commercialize the game in 1985 failed. That version of the game, published by Epyx, was the first one I played for my blog back in 2010. Because they lacked the source code, later developers who wanted to modify or improve upon the game had to rewrite it from scratch, often creating very different games in the process. Moria, Hack, and NetHack are some of those efforts that took on lives of their own. But in 1986, a UC Berkeley employee named Timothy Storr was interested in recreating an open source version of the original. I'm not going to offer any comment on the ethics or legality of that. It's possible that Storr felt that the university had a right to the game since Toy had written it with university resources and time. Whatever the case, Storr's version became the source of a number of public domain ports of Rogue for various systems, including Steve Van Devender's DOS port in 1988. I'm playing a 1993 update of that port labeled Rogue Clone 4. I've already played it for a while, and I can't really detect any major difference between it and the 1985 Epyx version of Rogue. So I'm going to get started here. The only thing we can do in Rogue for character creation is enter a name. And the game begins you in a randomly generated dungeon. Your character level 1, you have no gold, you get 12 hit points, you have 16 strength, and every character starts with the same set of equipment. 1 unit of food, a +1 ring mail, a +1 mace, a +1 short bow, and 29 arrows. And I'm lucky enough to start in a room with no monsters in it. Sometimes you get killed immediately, but this time I can take my time getting started. I'm going to pick up this gold here. Now you can see that the game uses a very limited character set. That's one of the conventions of the entire roguelike subgenre. This one uses some characters that wouldn't have been available to the original authors, including the smiley face there for the main character. But almost everything else is represented in ASCII characters, including the walls of the rooms, which are just pipes, and then the dots, the periods, indicating spaces within the room itself. And this indicates that the room is lit, and I can see the entire room because I can see all of the dots throughout it. You'll notice a monster represented by a letter, an uppercase letter, has just entered in the upper corner there. The K indicates that that's a kestrel. In the original Rogue, Ks were kobolds, I believe, but they were trying to avoid any kind of legal issues with Dungeons and Dragons, so they renamed them. In any event, one of the things you always want to try to do in this game is to kill monsters at range if you can. And so I just moved up one and got him on the same row as me. And now I can switch my weapon to the bow here, and then throw in his direction my arrows, which is the same as firing them from the bow. And I missed him. Throw again. Hit him that time. And I've had bad luck, and I kept missing him. Now he's adjacent to me, so now I've got to get my mace back in my hand. And kill him the old-fashioned way. Now I defeated him, and I got two experience points for it, but he brought me down to 7 hit points. You know, that's pretty dangerous. This game, one of the major features of the whole roguelike subgenre, is that it features permadeath, meaning that if my character dies, doesn't matter how far into the game I am, he's dead permanently and I've got to start completely over. And since in order to win this game I've got to get below level 20, dying on the first level in the first room would have been pretty discouraging. But it happens. It happens to a lot of characters. And one of the fun things about the game is all the ways that you can die and all the frustrating stories you can tell other players about how you had nearly accomplished something only to die, or you died in a particularly dumb way. In this next room I found some gold. Now a snake has just entered down there, and I definitely want to see, if I hadn't been narrating and I'd been paying more attention, I would have wielded my short bow. And it's now the reason I want to particularly avoid the snake is that if the snake hits me, it will drain my strength, and strength is a key attribute. It's the only attribute that you have when you're playing this game. So I'm only going to get one throw of my arrow, and then he's next to me, and he wasn't really diagonally from me anyway. I had misjudged the positioning there. Alright, let's get the mace back in hand. And meanwhile the snake has hit me, but not drained. He didn't drain me that time, so... And I managed to kill him before any other damage happened. It's one of the cruelties of this game is that snakes are very common enemies on the first few levels, and they have that draining ability. And here now, look at this. I have just once wandered into what's called a zoo. The early level, or the various levels of Rogue very often will have these, where you have a ton of monsters in a single room. I got snakes, emus, imps, hobgoblins, kestrels. That seems to be about it. Now there's also some treasure in that room. There's a number of potions and scrolls and rings, and if I could kill all of those enemies, not only would I have a really high level by the time I was done, but I'd have some pretty cool stuff. But more than likely, I'm not going to be able to survive this. I don't have any assets yet. I haven't found any scrolls or potions or anything to help me out. You know, the only thing that I have is my weapons. And the moment I leave, these enemies are going to start following me, because I poked my head in. They've seen me. Well, maybe not. That's right. I think in this version of the game, that's right. They can't. No, I was about to say they can't. Maybe they can't follow you down corridors, but I was wrong about that. So this snake has followed me. I'm going to continue to try to put some distance, so you can't go diagonally in corridors. Enemies can, which is annoying. So if I want to move down here, I'm going to give him a free hit at me. So rather than do that, I'm going to just attack him and kill the snake. Now I've got the imp after me. If I can put some distance between me and the enemies, I might be able to trap some of them back in the lair, and then they can't follow me. Oh, I'm sorry. The eye is not an ice imp. It's an ice monster. The ice monster froze me, and I have now died of hypothermia. So thus is the fate of my first adventurer. Okay. So, having established that, from now on, well, if I can survive level 1 anyway, I'm going to save my character. I'm going to back up my character at the beginning of every new level, and then restore that character if I die. It's technically violating the spirit of the game, but the purpose of this video is to record, you know, what happens in a game of Rogue, and I can't do that if I can't get through the game. So we just won't count this as a real win, basically. I've started the new game in a room with a hobgoblin, who I'm going to immediately have to kill. He was right next to me, but fortunately I got him. You can see that my equipment is exactly the same as it was before. And why don't I move through this level just a little bit more briskly than the last one. Ah, now here's a nice room. I've got a hobgoblin. A bee is a bugbear, I think. And looks like there's a potion and a scroll in here. And they haven't been aroused to my presence yet, so I can sneak up and grab that scroll. Now, one of the things that roguelikes do is that they tend to randomize the description of their objects. So in this case, the scroll is entitled Barblorp Zep Poxy. That's just its way of saying there's a bunch of random stuff on it. When I read the scroll or use it, or if I find a scroll of identification to identify it, then every other scroll that is that same nonsense set of characters will be identified for me from then on. But I can't really identify it until I have a scroll of identification, and I won't know that I have a scroll of identification unless I read one, and that's what it turns out to be. So this early in the game, there's negative effects to scrolls and potions. So if you just read a scroll or drink a potion without knowing what it does, you can really hurt yourself. And you don't want to do that, late in the game. But in the early game like this, where the worst I have to do is start over, you might as well give it a try. And so I'm going to read F, and it turns out it was a scroll of identify. Well, that's too bad. I should have gotten the potion first, because then I could have identified the potion, and I could have used it on something. I don't have anything that I need to identify, so I'll just identify my food. And it's identified as food. Okay, so to get that potion, I'm going to have to kill the hobgoblin and the bugbear. So I'm going to start as far away as possible, wield my bow, and throw my arrows. And I managed to kill the hobgoblin. And the bat. Sorry, not a bugbear, bat. And now I'm going to wield my mace. Now you might be wondering how I'm typing these commands. Well, the game has a ton of commands, differentiated by upper and lowercase letters. So for instance, the lowercase t is throw, and the uppercase t is take armor off. The lowercase r is read a scroll. The uppercase r is remove ring. And you just kind of learn these. I haven't played this game, seriously for quite a while, but once you've spent some time with the game, these commands get pretty well embedded in your consciousness, and they tend to be replicated through other roguelikes. So it's easy to master new games as you encounter them. So here we got a green potion, and once again, because it's so early in the game and I don't have a lot to lose, I'm just going to quaff it to see what it does, and that way when I encounter them in the future, good or bad, I'll know what it is. And it turned out it was a potion of confusion, which means I'm going to go move around randomly for a while, but I missed the message, but it wore off pretty quickly. And from now on, when I find green potions, it will automatically identify them as potions of confusion, and I won't have to test them again. In this version of the game, I'll test it out. I don't believe you can throw potions at monsters to have effects on them. You could in the original. Okay, here's the stairway down and a kestrel, and the kestrel hasn't seen me. I'm going to kill it because I know I'm pretty sure I can, and you need all the experience you can get on these early levels to survive on the later ones. And a kestrel isn't an enemy that you particularly need to avoid. Oh, he just jumped right at me after I missed him. So now I've got to wield my mace. And there I just leveled up to level 2 at 10 experience points. If you can keep your character level around the same as the dungeon level, you're not doing too bad. Oh, see, you got to be careful about that. I just blundered through, and I killed the snake, but you generally don't want to go so quickly down the hallways you don't even notice when you plow over an enemy, because that's what gets you in trouble on later levels. This room just has gold. Gold doesn't do anything for you in this game. There are no shops, nothing to spend the gold on. And I'm doing it again. I was going too fast, and now I'm right up on the snake. I should have fired an arrow down the corridor, since it's a long, straight corridor. But fortunately, they didn't bite me, and my strength remains where it is going into level 2. Level 2 has started me in a room next to one of those ice creatures again, and a snake. And unlike later roguelikes, I can't go back up. Now, I said I was going to save as I arrived on each level. I should save before I arrive on the level, because this has put me in kind of an untenable situation. I can probably if I can kill that snake in one blow. Okay, I killed him in a couple of blows, and I get out of there. I'm going to try to avoid that ice monster and just leave this room. And here I'll save. And so that saves my character. And I'm going to now back that up. Okay. And then start the game again. Okay. And another damn snake. Man, those guys. Okay, this room has another ice monster. It's got some food. That's important. You get hungry fast in this game. And if you don't keep up on food, if you're not lucky enough to find it, or find a ring of slow digestion, then the game can end pretty quickly. It's a slime mold specifically. And I found another short bow, and I don't really need it since I already have one, but maybe it'll be a better one or something, so I'll save it in case I need to burn another scroll of identification. But I'm going to avoid that ice monster. Fortunately, they don't seem to be immediately hostile. Now, I've reached a dead end here. Nowhere to go, but I suspect there's a door. So I just have to hold down the S for a few turns. No, turns out I was wrong. It really was just a dead end. But S searches and often finds secret doors. So I just came back in this room only to find a bat and a hobgoblin that weren't there before. And somehow I screwed up. I screwed up my letters and I threw the slime mold. Let's try that again. E, the arrows. Didn't hit the hobgoblin enough. And I defeated the hobgoblin, and now I'm level 3. If I can get to level 4, I'll maybe feel comfortable taking on those ice monsters. Bat died in one hit there. And the reason I would want to, again, is because you need all the experience and leveling that you can get. Here again is a dead end, and again, no secret door there. I suspect there's one along here somewhere. Maybe taking me to that middle space in between. But it takes a while to search for secret doors. You have to keep pounding S, and it burns time and energy. You get hungry. So sometimes you just have to suck it up and face the fact that you won't find the room. And here I've blundered into yet another one of those zoos. They have just been horrible in this version of the game. I think this clone has more of them than the original game did, because a lot of my characters have died after blundering into these zoos. Now I'm level 3 now, and I don't know, I might do better than the last time. Let's see what we have here. We have hobgoblins, kestrels, emus, snakes, rattlesnakes. I don't know why there's 2 different snakes. We've got an ice monster, and then bats. None of them individually are terribly hard. Together they're a lot, but I might be able to, if I can get around the corner here and go back to the, oh, now there's a snake in my backpack. Get rid of him. So sort of lead them back here and put some twists and turns between me and that room, and maybe I can slowly defeat them. There's a lot of good treasure in that room. So let's see. Got the emu, got the kestrel. Oh, the rattlesnake bit me and took my strength down to 15. I hate that. Killed the rattlesnake. They are really all following, aren't they? And now I've got snakes coming in my back path. Well, I just made it to level 4, so that helps a little bit. I wanted to try to get these snakes with bows, but they keep coming up on me. Let me wield my bow now. Yeah, that was a stupid move. Alright. Okay, got the snake, got a bat. Got another bat. Killed a hobgoblin, killed another snake. Killed an emu. Moving out of the doorway clearly didn't do anything for me. They all just followed me in a line. So I might have just stood where I was. That's where you really hope to have something like a potion of speed or a scroll of teleportation or something that helps get you the hell out of there, you know. Defeated the kestrel, defeated the emu. Damn rattlesnake took me down to 14. And the rattlesnake has killed me. I wasn't even paying attention to my hit points. Again, narrating this has distracted me in ways that actually normally playing the game wouldn't. But so killed by a rattlesnake on level 2, and not very good score there. But I'm going to restart with that backup, and I'll pick it up again when I have something interesting to show. Oh, and I think I've got them all except for the rattlesnake there. All right, look at this. Nice big room full of potions and weapons and all kinds of stuff. Hopefully, some of these scrolls, I only got one left actually, are scrolls of Identify. Nope, none of them. So, 2 food rations, that's good. But when all is said and done, I've got a bunch of potions, a bunch of scrolls that I don't have any idea what they do, and some new weapons that I need to identify that might be better than my +1 mace. Having just defeated all of those enemies and risen to level 5 before I've even made it off dungeon level 2, I have a lot to lose now, and I'm not inclined to start randomly reading scrolls or drinking potions without knowing what they are. So I guess I'm just going to have to hold on to them until I get some identification scrolls, or until things get dire and I need to do something in an emergency. So moving down to level 3, I am once again going to save and back up, and I'll let you know the next interesting thing that happens. Now here's a common situation on level 3 where I have explored all the rooms that I can get to, and I haven't found the stairway down. Yet there's clearly a lot more of the level left to explore, and it's probably just a secret door that I'm missing, which is not, oddly enough. It doesn't seem to be at the end of this hallway here, because no matter how many times I hit S, nothing happens. Now, early on this level, I found a scroll of identification, and I used it to identify one of my potions, and that potion turns out to be a potion of detect things, item number K there. And so I'm going to use that to help me out of this predicament. I'm going to quaff that potion, and let's see what happens. Okay, and so the potion shows me that there not much else in this level, but there are 2 stacks of gold, and given the position of that first one, I suspect that the secret door is going to be somewhere at the south end of this first room that I entered way back when. So heading back, and we'll start searching for secret doors. You have to hit the S key. I guess I'm wrong about that. You have to hit it a lot of times sometimes to find the secret door. And in the meantime, as you can see, enemies can regenerate, although bats aren't much of a danger to me now. The bigger issue is that it just burns time, and hunger is a big problem in this game. Check. There we go. It was there in this room, or at least one of them was. And there's another one. Emus aren't really a concern for me, so I don't need to be extra cautious around them. Yeah, that stack of gold. And now that I've got, I already know there's really nothing else to find on this level, so I could go to those other doors and see what's there, but at best they're going to be enemies to kill, or I could just save myself the food and head down, and that's probably the smarter option. So I'm on level 7 now, and it's time to do a little bit of inventory management, because I've picked up too much stuff, and I got to deal with some of it. And in the meantime, as you can see, I've lost a ton of strength. I took a chance on a potion that turned out to be a potion of illness, and it sapped away 3 of those points, and then a rattlesnake took another couple of them, so that really sucks. Hopefully I'll find a potion soon that restores strength. So let's look at the stuff I've got here. First of all, I got 5 rations of food. That's good. It's good that I've got that many. That's going to keep me for a while, and I don't have to worry about starvation. Now, I've got too much. I've got to get rid of some things here, and I've picked up 22 shurikens, as you can see. 9 of them in one pile and 13 in another, and that would suggest that one of the piles is either actually, I don't think there is any cursed equipment in this version. I could be wrong, but so either it's cursed or it's got a +1 blessing. But either way, I can throw those and without having to equip a bow to make use of them. And frankly, you can throw arrows too without having to equip the bow. It just doesn't work as well. So now that I've got 22 of those, I can probably save myself some carrying space and weight by dropping the bow and the arrows, and that includes the additional bow that I've picked up down there at the bottom in number I, because I've got a lot of missile weapons without the bows. So I'm going to drop D, E, and I. I might come to regret that after I've used up all my shurikens, but I don't think so. Now, looking else on here, I've got 2 scrolls of enchant weapons. I just tried one randomly, and that's what it turned out to be, and then I found a couple more. And that's great, except I don't want to use those yet, because I'm still carrying that +1 mace that I started with. And I don't think that, that's going to be the weapon that goes the distance for me. So what I want to do is use those scrolls on whatever weapon I decide to keep, for the rest of the game. That way I can just keep using any Scrolls of Enchant weapon on it. And the kind of same consideration goes with Enchant Armor. If I were to find some, I actually did have one at one point, and that's why my ring mail is up to +2. But again, I don't think the ring mail is going to be what carries me through the end of the game, hopefully. So if I find any more Scrolls of Enchant Armor, I'm going to refrain from using them until I find armor that I really want to keep. Now the longsword, that might be it. That might be the weapon I want to go with. I really like a two-handed sword. That's the probably the best weapon in the game. But I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it's cursed. I don't know if has a negative value. I need to identify it first, so I'm not going to use that just yet. I am going to assume the ring mail that I've got, that extra ring mail, isn't better than the +2 one that I'm wearing. I could put it on, but it could be cursed, and the likelihood is it's not going to. You don't find ring mail that's better than +2, so I'm going to drop that as well. And then the final thing is here I've got two wands, a gold wand, a titanium wand, and a staff. And those are tough to identify. You can't just, it doesn't automatically identify them as you use them, at least not most wands. Even though I think one of them caused a monster to disappear when I used it. I think it's the titanium one caused the monster to disappear. But it didn't identify it for me automatically. The two scrolls of Create Monster, why would I wander around with those? Really, yeah, there's no point in creating monsters in this game. They don't fight for you. They're not summoned monsters that you can use. They'll just attack me right away. But then again, in a controlled environment like the one I'm in, maybe I might as well burn them, kill the monsters, and get the experience. Again, that could turn out to be a really bad decision if the monsters are very tough, or another snake that drains more of my strength. So that's a decision I've got to make. I guess I actually won't do that, just in case. So I'll drop those as well. I'm here now on level 9, and I just wanted to point out that I just took a chance on a clear potion. I felt okay doing that because I'd already identified the potion of illness and the potion of confusion, so those were the two worst things, although I hadn't identified the potion of blindness, so that was a bit of a risk. But anyway, it turned out to be a good thing. I feel warm all over, it says, and my strength is back up to 16, so it was a potion of restore strength. Something happened here that I thought was amusing, so I reloaded so I could show it. I found a gray potion, and I thought, what the hell, I'll take a chance on it. And I quaffed it, and it turned out to be a potion of strength. Not restore strength, but gain strength. So my strength is up to 17, so I was feeling pretty good about that, and I started walking over here to go to the exit from the room, and then a dart just hit me in the shoulder and dropped my strength back down to 16. So I hit a trap, which you can see annotated right there. There haven't been many of those in this game, but when they do hit you, they're pretty annoying. They can teleport you, they can reduce your strength, they can reduce your hit points, they can destroy your armor or weapon. And there isn't much you can do about them except to search before you move, but they don't occur that often enough to make that a good use of your time. Here on level 11, I'm about to run up against one of the more annoying monsters in the game, an Aquator, which is a creature, I don't even know what it's supposed to be, but it can shoot water at you that rusts your armor, and for every hit, it weakens it by 1. So at some point I found some banded armor. I got +0 banded armor. And I definitely don't want that to weaken. Now, I don't have to fight the Aquator, and I should probably save this for when I'm in a position where I have to fight the enemy. But just to demonstrate it, I was fortunate enough to find a scroll of Protect Armor, which my armor is covered by a gold shield, and now when I fight the Aquator, it hit me, but the rush vanishes instantly, and it didn't affect my armor. And then I can just kill him, and kill the ice monster, and go on my way. Normally when you see those Aquators, it's best just to take your armor off. even though it makes it more likely they can hit you because you don't want to have your armor ruined. Now here's one of those situations you don't want to be in. I've encountered a centaur, they can hit pretty hard, in a hallway, and he's gotten my hit points down to 12, and I need to try to get out of this situation before he kills me. Now, I could retreat back to the stairway. I know I can make it because he can only keep up with my pace. He can't attack as I'm fleeing. Um, I don't like that option, but I could do it. But let's take a look at my stuff and see what else can help me. So I've got all these different wands, again, and the staff that I could use to try to zap him. I don't know what they do. I've got a scroll that I haven't identified. Who knows? It could. I think I've identified teleportation, but it could be teleportation. And that's about it, really, in terms of emergency stuff. But I do have a scroll of Scare Monster, which I haven't really have a lot of experience with those. But let's give that a shot and see if it gets him to leave me alone long enough for me to rest up and heal. So I'm going to read that. And I hear maniacal laughter in the distance. Don't know what that's about. And it didn't seem to do anything to the centaur at all. He hit me, and he's continued to follow me. So Scare Monster doesn't seem to be a thing. So let's try. Again, I should just retreat to the thing. If he hits me more time, I'm dead. But I can reload if that happens. I haven't had to since the last time, but let's check it out. All right, so I'm gonna zap with the titanium wand. We'll give that a shot. And it turned him into a snake, so that was definitely a polymorph wand. I don't know if that improved things, though. Let me zap the snake. It's a lower level creature. He probably won't kill me. I'm going to zap the snake with the gold wand. And it killed him. So whatever it was, some kind of magic missile or blast. See, the annoying thing is it still doesn't identify the wands, even though I've presumably seen what they can do. Anyway, now that I'm clear of him and on the stairway, I identified one of my rings in the meantime, and it turned out to be a ring of slow digestion. That's a wonderful thing to have, because it keeps you from having to use too much food, but I'm not exactly hurting on food. I've got 4 rations and 3 slime molds that you can eat, and so since I'm not hurting for food, I'm just going to hold down the S key and stand here for a while and let my health regenerate. That's something you have the luxury of doing when you're not in any danger of starving to death. Alright, I've reached level 16 now here, and the enemies are starting to become no joke. Meeting trolls and yetis and other enemies capable of serious damage, as well as medusas, which can turn you to stone. So even though I never found the weapon or armor that I really wanted to prioritize in the game, I've got to commit to something here and enchant these things. So I've got still got that +1 mace that I started with, and I've got the banded mail, and I've got 3 scrolls of enchant weapon and 2 scrolls of enchant armor. So J and G, and I'm just going to read those. And now I've got a +4 mace and +2 banded mail. Again, it's not perfect, but it's better than continuing to hold off using those and working with inferior gear. And a little bit later on the same level, I just reached level 9, which is great, because I have been saving a potion of raised levels, so I can immediately go to the next level. You don't want to use it when you're already about to level up anyway, but now that I've just crossed the level, I know that it's a good time to use it. Not read. And now, so I immediately jumped up to level 10. Now, I'm on level 16 now, and this is the point where you've got to really start being careful. I haven't really talked about why I'm here, but the whole purpose of the game is to find the Amulet of Yendor, which is an artifact that you find, I believe, on either level, on level 20 and below. So it could be on any level, starting at 20. And once you find it, if you can then make it back to the exit stairs, it's not really hard to win the game. But until you find it, you've got to be really, really careful. And I don't want to die on levels 16, 17, 18, or 19 just because I'm trying to explore them fully and get all possible items. It probably is better just to go back here to the stairs at this point because I'm not likely to gain many more experience levels. So it'd be best. Whoop, I might lose an experience level right here because I'm fighting a wraith who removes experience levels. Whew, I got him before he did that. Anyway, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So rather than take the risk, it's better just to go down as soon as you find the stairs at some point, and then save your exploration for the levels that you know have the Amulet of Yendor. Okay, so here I am. I have just arrived on level 26, and I can see in the room that I've arrived in the Amulet of Yendor. But the room also has a Jabberwock, a unicorn, a black unicorn, which are very difficult, a vampire, they're not so bad, and a F, which is one of those Venus flytrap plants that they're not too difficult on this level either. The Jabberwock, which is right next to me as I arrive, is the most dangerous. Now, in the meantime, I found several potions of raised strength, so you can see I'm up to 20. And I found another, I think, enchant armor scroll, and one more potion of raised skill. That brought me up to 12 after I leveled up to 11 naturally. The only resource I have that's going to help me against that Jabberwock, and I got a couple things actually. I don't know what the Tiger Eye ring is. There's still the scroll that I haven't identified. I've got a teak staff that I just found that I can test out, and I have a potion of haste self, which should allow me to run fast, but I hope to save that. So let's give the teak staff a try. See what it does. Zap. Right. L. Well, it made him disappear. That's pretty cool. Alright, the unicorn's aware of me. I don't know if they just teleported him elsewhere or got rid of him for good. Either way, I want to hold on to that. So I'm going to see if I can fight the unicorn without it. See, the unicorn just can kill me, can knock off 25 hit points per hit. And now he's going to be down to 15. I need to use that staff against him. And that made him go away. My hit points regenerate pretty quickly at this level, so I'm just going to move around a bit. Stand in place and search. Void. Enemies don't seem to be roused, so I don't need to worry about them. I'm hungry, I'll eat my food ration. Tasted awful, but still did the job. Alright, let's get the amulet. Venus flytrap. Got him, okay. Amulet of Yendor, yay. So I've got it. Now what I have to do is find the way back up. which doesn't appear until you have the amulet. Oh, the vampire managed to sap 1 point of my strength. And some Medusa. Defeated that. I don't know where those guys I zapped disappeared to. I could still run into them. Oh no, a griffin. I'm going to get rid of him too. This is the real hair-raising part of the game. And I would like to have more resources at this point. I'm stuck in one of those mazes. Yeah, there's that griffin. I guess I can't defeat him. Oh, and I'm out of my charges. I hate to use it so soon, but oh, and I'm trapped between the griffin and the Jabberwock, and just died. Oh, and I'd found the amulet too. Well, I'll have to reload and hopefully find it again. Well, here I am a little later, having found an alternate route, and so now I can go up, and well, luckily in this level that I've gone up to, if I can avoid the Jabberwock and the unicorn, I'm not even going to fight him. There's another stairway up, so I'll take that. And basically that's just what I have to do for the next 24 levels, is keep finding those stairways up and just take them as soon as possible. There's no point in fighting anything at this point. I just need to get the hell out of here. One thing I'm finding about this version that I don't remember from the original Rogue, although I could be wrong, I just might be misremembering, is that on the way back up, everything that looks good, like in this case a potion there, if I approach it, it turns out to be a Xerox, which is this game's version of a mimic, basically. They're not really that hard, but you don't get any stronger or better equipment going back because everything turns out to be one of those creatures. And it's really all over at this point. I've made it back to level 12, and here's another staircase going back up, so now I'm back to level 11. Later roguelikes like NetHack would keep the difficulty as you ascend by having NetHack, the Wizard of Yendor, continues to chase you all the way back to the beginning, and there are other games in which the difficulty, the monsters of the lowest level, persist in appearing as you go back up, even on the earlier levels. But in this game and in the original Rogue, as you return to the earlier levels, you fight monsters of the same difficulty that you fought on the way down, which obviously isn't going to be a big deal. These are zombies, very easy. And they're not going to be a problem for a character with this skill level and the weapons and strength that I've managed to amass. Although the rattlesnake could have still done me harm, so I should probably not go too quickly, but at this point I'm just trying to zip from one staircase to another. There we go. And so forth. And here I've managed to make it back to level 1, and a single snake is the last enemy that I defeat. Oh, no, I guess apparently a kestrel will be the last enemy I defeat. As I head to the stairs, and exit. And it tells me that after all that effort, my reward is that I have been admitted to the Fighters Guild. That's the reward for descending down 28 levels, killing dragons, and finding the Amulet of Yendor. Now, later, roguelikes would expand upon rogues' mechanics significantly and offer all kinds of additional spells and special abilities and monsters with special abilities. NetHex has this whole polymorph system where you can turn into just about any enemy in the game. It has a intrinsic system where if you eat dead enemies, you gain their abilities and their resistances. They make it much more difficult to get the Amulet of Yendor. It's hidden. You've got to defeat a number of special boss level creatures in order to defeat it. So the later games really expanded upon the complexity and length and difficulty to some degree, although there are some things that make them a little easier too. But they expanded upon this basic template and created much more elaborate games. And I prefer those for the most part. Generally speaking, they're more interesting to play. But Rogue has a simplicity to it that is still fun to return to now and then. And let's see, it took me over 85 hours to win this game legitimately the first time I played it, meaning I didn't reload, I didn't back up characters, and I adhered to permadeath, and it took me dozens of characters and over 85 total hours to win it. But this session only took me about 2 hours with that character and 6 reloads. So there you have it. That's what the 1988 1988 to 1993 DOS clone of Rogue looks like. And it's quite a bit like the original.